What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. My pen. It's good to see everybody. 4-hour race night. You guys like my my little board holder for now? Sitting on it. That's a pretty expensive board holder, to be honest with you. All right, let's get busy here. So, welcome to the channel. My name is Dan. This is Neomustangs. It's my Foxbody Mustang channel. I am completely still unprepared. I don't know where my other pen is. So I apologize while we let people get in the chat. Apologize to you. Give me a second here. Okay. What's happening, Big Mike? Oh, Tommy Allen, how we doing? New member to the channel, man. I appreciate you joining the membership. It's good to see everybody. Guys in green, big shout out, guys in green. You are my members that support the channel, so thank you very much. We're starting a new month, and I hope to see you guys still on the membership tab at the end of the month again. So big shout out to my club members, and we actually got a new, we got the final monetization part of the channel. There's a thanks thing in all my videos, a little thanks button. You can actually directly donate just like you do on the live chat. So it's really cool because you can go to a video that helped you the most, and you can actually click on the thanks button and support the channel. It's crazy. It's a beta thing, so it's kind of new to YouTube. So, all right, we'll stop talking about that. What's up? What's up, Wayne? What's up, Ethan? What's up, Mustang guys? 6501. It's good to see everybody. This week's theme is about when fox bodies sit for a long period of time. So I want to actually start this. Hang on a second. So when fox bodies sit for a long time, hold on, they end up going through. Let me just set the preface. So I've dealt with hundreds of fox bodies, and probably 80% of those fox bodies I found either in a field, or they were a parts car, or they were a project that somebody didn't want to do anymore. And Cousin Paul's here in chat, so shout out to Cousin Paul. What's up, big dog? You know, he can attest to this. And if there's anybody who knows about, that sort of like content where fox bodies in the stuff that we go through, it's him, and he's seen it a lot. I've seen it a lot, and that's what I'm here to talk to you about. We always have a theme or our live streams. I want you guys to chime in on chat. Let me know what your experiences are of it. But I got a list. We're gonna talk. You know, I always like to do the whiteboard. Now, my man War Admiral 363, he shouted me out last week and told me to get the Amazon stand, and you can see that I completely procrastinated that, right? So my bad, Tom. But we do have a whiteboard stand. It is consisted of some 18-inch drag slick radials, or street drag radials, and an 18 front tire. All right, so I do want to mention that if the camera goes blurry or funny or whatever, I will have to reset it. It takes a minute to reset, but it's not a big deal. So the second thing is, if it freezes, it will come back. Not a big problem. It is raining, and it does suck outside for the weather, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. So anyways, last week we talked about this rat nest. And this, we talked about, you know, the rebuilds and what's in back order. And we talked a lot about things that would help the community and help the fox body community. And I hope that you guys got something from that. Shout out to Hanlon Motorsports. He was actually watching on the way home, him and his dad in his truck. And they laughed at me about my 460 thing, but I like 460s. And shout out to Vengeance. I don't talk about these guys enough. Chris over at Vengeance, we're about to put that clutch in. I keep talking about that, but we are putting that clutch in very soon, because I promised him I would street drive that clutch and let you guys know if it was a go or a no go. So you know I'm going to be honest about it, and Chris expects that. So that's what I'm wearing tonight. Lamar Richardson, what's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? Watching you while sitting in a Longhorn steak. Order me up some of that bloomin' onion or something, right? What's up, Tarzan Reloaded? What's up, War Admiral? The tires work. So shout out to War Admiral. He is on Instagram. I always shout him out, but he has probably one of the best one-off coupes on the planet. I mean, if you're into notchbacks, you really need to go check him out. He's definitely awesome. What's up, Paul DeFox? Paul DeFox in the house. He likes to stream on Thursday nights. He also has an upcoming Foxbody channel. So anyways, let me get into what we're talking about today. I had to have to do it off of my phone here because I forgot to write it all down. So this particular information is directly reflects people who find a Foxbody. In this day and age, our Foxbodies pretty much are projects. You know, they're not project. And just they started at one point there, right? Because that's where they all start. So this is specifically, you know, some of you guys may relate to it now. Some of you guys may relate to it another day. Some of you guys may not relate to it at all because you've already passed that age. And, you know, I've been there, done that, and it seems like I'm always resetting with my dad's car and whatever. But, you know, you say you all right, so we're back. So anyways, like I said, it's raining really bad outside. So I do apologize if it does, you know, time in and time out. We're good. I'm watching it on the other stream. So, all right. Anyway, like I said, if it freezes, then we're gonna get through this. We're gonna get through this. All right, so if it is a little bit fuzzy, I will fix it here in a second. We'll let it try to fix itself. Anyway, say you find a Foxbody in the field, and there's like, you know, there's a bunch of things that could actually you need to look at. The first thing, and I'm going to actually mention this, and this isn't going to go in sequential order. This isn't going to go in like a specific order, but we're going to write them down here on the whiteboard. So the whiteboard we're going to start with probably one of the easiest fixes that I've ever done. Now, I've actually purchased probably about a dozen Foxbodies in the past where like the guy had said, hey, you know, the car doesn't run. I'm like, whatever. So I get there, sure as heck, they don't, you know, it just cranks over. I don't hear the fuel pump. So one of the things that you need to look for if your car doesn't run, if you find your car doesn't run, or if you find one in the field, is especially 87 and 91, because the fuel pump relay is underneath the seat, is the green fuel pump relay. So we're going to start with fuel pump relay. Okay. Now, it's not just a relay. Look. So there is a little pause. Anyways, the fuel pump relay is where we're going to start at. Now I'm going to keep talking for a while we let it come back. What's up, Brutal? Brutal in the house. How we doing, buddy? It's good to see you, my man. Good to see you. We're going to try to get through this. It's just terrible weather, and it's like, it's really loud. So if he keeps, just bear with me, guys. So trying to get into that flow, you know what I mean? It keeps interrupting me. So like one of the top things that I've always seen be an issue, and I've actually fixed 10 or 12, 15 cars, is the fuel pump relay. And it's kind of crazy because the fuel pump relay is one of the major issues when the wiring issues are a problem. So I've also seen the ECU relay next to the computer. It's like brown or whatever. So it's an E4ZU number or something like that. So that's number one. I mean, when you're looking at a Foxbody that's been sitting for a long time, there's a good chance 8791 that you may have an issue with that. And even if you don't, you should probably go under, pop that relay out, and look inside of it, because it'll tell you if that plug has been corroded or not. And if you're good at wiring or whatever, you can actually unclip the plug, clean the connections, and put the plug back together. You see what I mean? Not a big deal. All right, so it's a little fuzzy. If it doesn't clear back out, I'll reset the camera when the rain stops, and I'll get it back. But anyways, that would be number one. That when a Foxbody has been sitting for a long time, that is definitely something that you want to look at. Obviously, that's a good start. Again, we're not going through, all these things that I'm about to put on this whiteboard aren't in order. It's not like a top 10 and number one. But I am going to save some really good ones for last. But the next one up, I would have to say, and I think it is still fuzzy. Are we still fuzzy? Not bad. It's not bad. I know it's behind. Let's see if I switched cameras, if that fuzzy better than frozen. That's correct. We'll reset it here. If it doesn't unfuzzy in a couple of minutes, we'll reset the camera and it'll do its little freeze thing. Again, guys, I'm super sorry. The weather is absolutely terrible right now. It's been downpouring like most of the day, and the internet's been spotty to say the least. So number two would be, and this is a big one, it's staying along the same lines as with the fuel stuff, is your fuel tank. Now, cars that sit longer than about a year or two, your fuel tank's going to start getting nasty inside because it's going to start actually condensing water. I've actually taken fuel tanks out. Me and Cousin Paul have taken fuel tanks out that were completely rusty inside. And next time we actually come up on that, we're going to do it a little short and show you guys. Fuel tank. Now, there's a caveat to all of them too. Fuel tank, we're talking the strainer, okay? And this is definitely something that if your car's been sitting for a long time, even in a heated storage, well, you should check. Strainer. We're talking fuel pump. Fuel pump might be clogged from the strainer, so you would kind of see that. The hanger may be rusty. And you can't see this stuff from the outside for the most part. Now, this is definitely something that if they're sitting for a long time, the gas is probably rotten. I think bacteria eats the gas, right? So it probably smells really bad. It turns brown, probably from the rust too. But you wouldn't see that. You wouldn't normally see that for the most part from the outside. But you take a tank down, try to start that car. It's been sitting for 10 or 15 years, and you're going to clog your injectors up almost instantly. So yes. So it looks like, let me try to switch cameras real quick. Let me see if that fixes it. Yeah, again, guys, I'm super sorry about the internet. It's not very good. Let me see if I switch cameras and it's pretty good. Brakes locked up rust. Okay. Let's see. Let me switch over. Still didn't fix it. Okay. So do you guys want me to reset? I'm going to reset the camera. So stay with me a second. It's going to clear it back up. It sounds like the rain stopped. So give me a second. It's going to re-clear. Ready? We good to go? Does it look better? All right. Got a little bit faster at it this time, so I apologize. Again, we got to fight. We got to fight through this, guys. We will get it. Anyways, fuel tank, fuel strainer, and the hanger, hidden problems. Fuel pump relay and wires, the ECU, that's my number one. So I did that, change everything, tank, pump, vent lines, and injectors on my 86. It's smart. I needed a new tank filter pump on my SSC barn find. Yeah, so this is extremely good. If you get to this point to where you're changing the fuel tank and the strainer and the hanger because your car's been sitting for a long time, like Foxbody FX, so shout out to him, said, probably want to run some sea foam through it. Sea foam does help clean some stuff out. It definitely, I mean, you don't know what's in the lines still. Me and Cousin Paul actually disconnect the lines and we'll actually blow them out. So another thing I should add to that, and I forgot, is the filter. My bad. And I know somebody mentioned it here in chat, but obviously car's been sitting a long time. Those are a no-brainer. Those have to come first almost. I mean, almost to the point that it's needed. And the fuel pump relay and the ECU is in case it doesn't start. If you got a crank and you don't hear a fuel pump, it's this for sure. On a 92, 93, you're not going to get a lot of that because they moved that harness in that system to the main harness. So let's move on. So obviously one of the things you want to change if the car's been sitting for a long time is you want to check for dry cracked, dry rotted tires. Now I know it's like, well, why are you talking about that? Listen, I've had, you know, I run 40s and 45s and 35s on my cars, and I've caught dry rotted tires cracking in the tread. Like you don't see it on the side of the tire and you think the tire is in good shape. But to be honest with you, my tires rot and crack and like rot over time before they actually wear out. Well, except the rear ones, but rotted tires will blow out under extreme things that we do with Foxbodies. So it's almost a no-brainer that, you know, the best way to you know, you want to inspect your tires, especially in between the threads, to make sure there's no cracking. If there's cracking there, they need to be replaced. That means that the rubber has been compromised and it's no longer a good compound. And it'd probably get you in an accident if you're driving in the rain or even in the snow if you actually drive your Foxbody in the snow. So, all right. Let me catch back up here. What's up, Infamous Project? Good to see you, my dude. Shout out to him. If you haven't had a chance to go check out Infamous Project on YouTube, he does a lot of builds. He does a lot of builds of Foxbodies and stuff like we do. So I do enjoy watching his channel quite a bit, actually. Fuel strainer, fuel tank, fuel ECU relays, dry rotted tires. So in that same line, we're going to talk about if you get the car running, if you've changed some of this stuff, you know, obviously, you know, you've changed the filters and checked the tank, changed the strainers, etc. You know, you're definitely going to want to check if you get the car fired up or whatever. Is the cat converters. I've actually had cat converters. Then we're talking about factory Foxbody. I've had cat converters clogged and literally glow red, and like they look like they're not dirty or bent or whatever, But honestly, they're just clogged with just garbage. I mean, you don't know what got up in there. I mean, mice, mouse, whatever can crawl through the muffler and bed inside of one of them with all the crap. And the same thing goes with the muffler. So when a car's been sitting for a long period of time, even with a catback system, you know, there's so many things that could get stuck up in that muffler. The number one problem is rust. And at least in Ohio, you know, you could take, and Cousin Paul can vouch for me, bros. You could take a muffler on some of these cars that we take out, and you could just take the muffler and slam it against the floor and watch a pile of rust come out of it. Like literally a pile of rust. So, you know, we're going to have to say, you know, the clawed cats, they glow red. They glow red. I'm terrible at penmanship right now. And mufflers. Muffler rust. All day, all the time. Let me get into chat a little bit. My pump seems to be pretty noisy. I know it was sitting a while before I thought about ants and bees and nests and mud daubers. It seems to be running good though. Probably should drop it. Yes. So if you hear your pump running, it's probably running hard for a reason. Or they usually get noisy and loud when they start to go bad. Now, it depends on what pump you have. Like all my pumps are loud. So you would think that I'd be replacing them all the time. But when it comes to factory pumps, for sure, they're not very loud at all. As you get up in size, like 255, 340, 420, 450, they start getting real noisy. So, you know, not knowing, you can know by the tone whether one of them's going bad or not, or at least clogged up. What's up, Larry Tonley? I appreciate it. All my bushings crumbled. So that's what we're talking about next. Bushings. Now, bushings are a big one, boys. Big one. I have a video this week discussing one of them that you're not going to want to miss in this car. And now this car right here is a 9-second street car. You guys all know that. It's on the channel. No big deal. But it's it doesn't, you know, it doesn't make sense. It never surprises me that you have a car for 22 years and you end up having to go back through and you know, undoing some of your screw ups. So anyways, we're going to start with 5 and I'm going to go A, B, C, whatever the heck else. So we're going to say bushings are always rotted at this point. Like, you know, bushings, we're talking control arms. We're talking front and rear. So I'll go put F and R. We're talking rack bushings, rag joint, just to name a few, man. These are all like rubber, like, you know, we're talking some serious suspension issues. Like your rag joint, your rack bushings, your rag joint will have slop in the steering wheel. Your rack bushings, the actual rack will move when you're trying to hard steer. And control arms obviously will throw the whole dimension of your car off. So bushings are almost a guarantee on a Foxbody that's been sitting for a long time. Almost a guarantee, bro. Yes. So good call, whoever said, well, that was on my list, but I just went ahead and started it. Appreciate you. Let me skip back over. Let me catch up in chat here, guys. I know I had to reset it. All right. Oh, shout out. I'm sorry. Did I shout out Brutal? I'm sorry, man. It's good to see you, B. Just doing a little bit of Foxbody stuff. Okay, so moving up to the front. Yes, the sway bar bushings. My bad. That was the last one I was looking for. Got like 15 things I want to say. Good call. Who was that? Good call, Toby. One of my members. Of course, he's gonna catch that, right? Again, guys, the guys in green are my members, so they have. Actually, if you're a member of the channel, you can see tomorrow's video already. We'll probably have all the videos done this week before Wednesday. So you want to check that join button out. Like I said, I got that super thanks button. That's really cool too. That's new. Yeah, so moving on. bushings, control arms, front and rear. Even on a low mileage car, you want to check the bushing for cracking. That's basically what you want to check the most of. Sway bar bushings are always like rack bushings. They just like, when they start going bad, they just like get all, you guys remember those little slime things that you used to get out of the little dollar machines or quarter machines? And it used to be like real squishy and that's funny. That's the way some of these sway bar bushings look like. That's a good one. We're going to talk about that one too. 89 GT50 said motor mounts. Now, let me talk about these motor mounts, bro. I mean, when a car's been sitting for a long time, most likely it's probably a project that you picked up or somebody's nightmare that they haven't finished yet. And I can almost guarantee you if it's a 5.0, the motor mounts have seen their better days. And what I didn't understand about the way Ford did this is that motor mounts actually a two-piece design factory. Caveat, convertibles are one piece, but they still got the rubber in them. And they're just absolutely terrible at this point. Motor mount blocks are just this big chunk of crap that bolts to the K-member. And then there's actually a metal plate that two bolts bolt the plate to. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why would engineers hate mechanics? They have this big block of rubber with the big stud that goes into the K-member, and then you got the two little studs that come out. And then they actually physically made a separate metal plate left and right, so they weren't even interchangeable, that bolts onto this rubber thing. Like, did they really think that was going to work? So, yeah. Motor mounts are a good one. So, shout out to 89 GT for that one. Thank you, sir, for that. That is something that I did not have in the list. So, that's huge. Anyway, we're just going right on down the list, aren't we? Dude, I got like 20 of them. So, and I didn't even have motor mounts, so we got a lot to go through. What's up, Foxbody newbie? It's good to see you. Hey, look, shout out to Handling Motorsports. Like I said, they're one of my sponsors of the channel. Fox newbie, I did get your message. Chris at Vengeance knows about a clutch that you're interested in getting. So I hear the rain again. So guys, again, if it freezes up, it'll clear up. Now I don't really, I mean, since we're on the engine, we're going to talk about motor mounts. We got to talk about the Harmonic Balancer. And I'm pretty sure that Foxcast just did a video on this not too long ago, and it was pretty fire. Brutal also mentioned this in his, was it a video or was it a stream? I think it was both. The Harmonic Balancer, just like anything else on the car, just like the bushings, have rubber in them. And let me tell you what, the rubber in a car that's been driven hard or just getting old, that bushing in that Harmonic Balancer will move in that rubber ring, throwing your car out of time. And the problem with that is you have an opportunity or a chance to blow your motor up. Because if that Harmonic Balancer is driven too hard, it could come off and throw your whole timing of your motor apart. You see what I'm saying? So that's, I mean, I know that's kind of one of the top 10 or top 5 things that you should check if you're rebuilding a Foxbody. But honestly, it's just like the bushings and the motor mounts. They have rubber in them. The sway bars, they're probably destroyed. You know, if you got a good, clean Harmonic Balancer, I wouldn't worry about it. But you can literally see the ring protruding. If you start seeing the ring protruding on the Harmonic Balancer on the stock one, then you know that that thing's about ready to be replaced. Best replace it with something that's all steel. I like the Trick Flow one. I use the Trick Flow one on my 3. I mean, it's a little expensive, but I mean, harmonics kill motors. That's probably one. And like I said, Foxcast, shout out to him. He did a really good video on how important that thing is. If your Harmonic Balancer is off, you will blow your motor up or crack it for that matter. You know what I mean? So somebody had mentioned, I didn't actually have it on my list, but somebody had mentioned earlier in the stream that vacuum lines. Okay. Vacuum lines, there is so many vacuum lines that are on a Foxbody for the smog, specifically for the smog. There's vacuum lines to hold vacuum while your car's wide open throttle. So your AC unit has vacuum. So your heater box has vacuum. There's little reservoirs all over the car. There's two in the fender, passenger fender, and there's a check valve on the firewall. So vacuums on Foxbodies are very important, very important. You could get, if you have a broken line and you don't know it, your car would idle high. It would also, again, guys, it's starting to rain pretty hard. So again, just bear with me if you freeze. Getting off my rhythm here. I can't stand that. So, you know, if you had a broken vacuum, then your car would idle high and it would cause for a lean condition in your motor. And that could also blow your head gasket, blow your motor up or whatever, just like the Harmonic Balancer. So it's something that's, you know, at this point in this day and age, if you're not running smog, if you're not running heat and AC, you could literally just run a vacuum to the fuel pressure regulator and run a vacuum to, I think that's it. Now you could run it to your EGR if you're using your EGR, which you wouldn't be if you're not using smog. But really all your fuel, the only person outside of the vacuum tree itself for the brake booster, the only thing you really need is the fuel pressure regulator. It needs to have vacuum. But if you're running heat and AC, then you still need to run the check valve and the two reservoirs on the passenger fender so you can have vacuum while you're wide open throttle. So your heat ducts and everything work. You understand what I'm saying? So heater core thermostat. Yeah. So that's definitely, we'll go with vacuum. There's more to be said about vacuum lines, to be honest with you, because those are hidden. Like those are probably one of the most hidden gremlins on a Foxbody Mustang, that hidden vac broken lines. To be honest with you, hidden vac broken lines. Because I mean they're all over the engine bay. There's even this cluster of lines, and I got a whole box of them, but I don't want to dig through them. But there's this big connector over by their like thermacular or whatever valves. I forget what they're called. Yeah, it's nothing good. So vacuums are important. You should check them. Moving on. They came with the, yeah. So the heater core, like say you've had a Foxbody for a long time, it's been sitting in storage. That heater core likes to rot, like legitimately. It's a copper. You know, most of them, I think the new ones are different, but the old one is copper. And usually when you take them out, they're all full of green and white and garbage and whatever. So, you know, good call on the heater core, because I didn't even have that on my list. I still got a bunch of stuff. You know, heater core is just absolutely terrible. If it works, leave it alone, because that's probably one of the crappiest ones. That's probably one of the worst projects to do in your Foxbody. It doesn't really bother me too much for the most part, because we kind of know where everything's at. But the thing of the matter is the heater core can, you know, you have to get the box out, and there's a lot of, you know, monkeying around to get it out. And it's not an easy change. It is, but it's not. And you would know it was bad because it obviously wouldn't be blowing heat if you're using your heater box, but it would be leaking. There's a little peacock drain or a little drain that's inside of the firewall. It would be leaking down your firewall. So if you had a car that's sitting for a long time or haven't started your Foxbody in a long time or what have you, you know, it's definitely, you know, if you start seeing like random antifreeze on the ground that's from your floor pan, it's most likely from the heater core or whatever. So, and in the same, you know, in the same thing, we're going to put heater core, heater box, cars that's sitting for a long time, heater boxes. We're going to just put fan, okay? Fan box. I don't know how many times we've dug rat nests out of a heater box. Ask Cousin Paul. No lie. Heater box, I mean, that's a night, you know, they get up in that little flap area up in the fan, and there's just so, when we actually take our heater boxes out to restore them, You know, Cousin Paul does a really nice job. He'll take everything out. We'll replace the heater core because, you know, we're going to do that because we're going to sell it. I don't want to have to take it back apart. But man, we've cleaned out so much garbage out of those. They just get stuck. They just get stuck. You know, things get in there. It's nasty. The heater core is not so bad. That's correct. Is there any preventable maintenance you can do to stop the heater core from going bad? No. The antifreeze will just rot the brass, the copper. They probably already like that to begin with. The best, you know, I mean, if you're bringing your car down for some maintenance or whatever, or you're in like a snow-ridden belt like we are up in Ohio, you know, taking your dash out and changing your heater core that you're going to use in your, I think is it the condenser or the evaporator? Whatever, you can change them both while you're at it and just kind of do some maintenance on your heater box because it's really important. Make sure you plug the vacuum back in. All right, Tip, it's good to see you. I appreciate you stopping in, my man. Treetop Tom, what up? Me and my wife did a heater core in about 8 hours together. So that's smoke breaks and dealing with kids. Smurfit, what up, Pat? What's up, Pat? Sorry, guys, I'm just sitting here yapping. We're going to get into one, too, that's kind of a sneaky one that's next. You guys will like this one. Excuse me. Okay, so there's another hidden spot. Car's been sitting, whether sitting outside, project car, wouldn't even know. Come on. It's not core support. Oh my God. Cow panel, stooge. Okay, cow panel, leaves. Oh, geez. Leaf, debris, nest. Cow panels are a big one because if there's a bunch of crap in your cow panel underneath, it'll rot your panel out. Like I've seen so many of them that we've cut out and taken apart. And the drain area is just completely clogged. Definitely a concern on a Foxbody that's been sitting for a long time. Even if it's, especially if it's outside, but even if it's inside, I mean, unless you run some mothball setup on your car to keep the critters away, then, you know, it's definitely something to consider, you know, when you're trying to, you know, check your Foxbody for stuff like this, you know, that we're talking about. So Chris O, 85 GT heater core was right behind the glove box. Mustang guy, stock hood latches on a fiberglass hood. Yes, so adding to that, good one, Mustang guy. Hood rubber, the hood latch rubber. Like you wouldn't even know unless you took it off. Every cow panel's got rust behind that rubber, guaranteed. Now, what you could do, if it's a pretty clean car, is you could take the rubber off, or you could pop the rubber off. You won't ruin it per se for the most part, and you could clean all that area out and maybe rust prevent it and put it back in because that's a sneaky spot. This cow panel inside and at the hood latch rubber, you know, especially on cars that are outside, can get debris and all kind of rust inside of them. You see what I mean? Like, you know, don't trust the fact that it's still clean at this point. Stock hood latch, yep. Caleb in Dover put a great vid on swapping the heater core out. Debris under the LX wing. So that's a good one because that's what's next. That's one of the ones we're doing next. Also, heater core will blow if you turn high RPMs with no motor restriction. That's correct. That's a good one, Slow Fox. Heater will blow if you blow higher RPM. Or if you blow, heater core will blow if you turn high RPMs with no motor restrictor. All seals dry out. That's right. So, one of the things now we're still talking about antifreeze is the water pump. Now, last year it was kind of embarrassing. I went to the track with my girlfriend Katie, the first time ever she'd been to a track. And I got up to the line with the white card. You guys seen the videos last year, and the freaking water pump was weeping. I mean, I just was got through the burnout, came up, and there's always a guy that looks under the cars to make sure they don't, you know, they're not leaking stuff all over the place. And Remember, I don't know if that was so embarrassing. I think that was at the beginning of the season last year. But anyways, that water pump's weeping. There's a little hole underneath the water pump. And if you start to see antifreeze kind of around your harmonic balancer or underneath of your engine from the front, you can't figure out where it's coming from. If your water pump's about to blow a seal, about to go out, there's a little weep hole underneath the water pump. Now, cars that have been sitting for a long time, naturally, all that stuff is settled. And obviously, antifreeze is a little corrosive. So that stuff's going to like corrode all the gaskets and even corrode and pit the the bolts that come into contact with it. So yeah, I took my spoiler off 3 times in the last couple of years and cleaned it out. Yeah, it's bad. It's definitely bad in areas that have a lot of leaves, that have a lot of pine needles. In the South, I know they have a lot of pine. Just debris. I mean, LX wing is the next one I was going to talk about. Well, we didn't add water pump. Water pump weeping, like I said, you know, there's 2 places that antifreeze can come out of your system and you not really know. And the weeping from the water pump and from the heater core is the 2 main places that'll happen. Like you wonder why you're losing antifreeze. You might not see it, and you wonder why your antifreeze is low. That's a big one. All right, moving on. I'll get into chat a little bit. So let's take a break real quick, and let's talk about what's coming up. You know what? We're just going to keep flowing. Never mind. We're just going to keep rolling. What happened? So keep rolling. Who's next? The spoiler is definitely the one that we actually did a video on this. Spoiler debris, underside. This is mainly for LX. The LX wing is the worst one of them all. Now, GT does have those big arms on it, but spoiler debris underneath. We did a video on that. And remember, we took cousin Paul or cousin Fred's spoiler off his LX. And there was legitimately, listen, I'm going to add to this. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll add it on a different spoiler debris underside. And you can see this is just like, you know, like this whole list is about maintenance. You see what I mean? This is about something that, you know, your Foxbody been sitting for a long time, or it's a project car and you don't, you know, if you guys are in a project status, this is really important information that, you know, you can go through and check all this stuff. I'm not telling you to go out there and spend a bunch of money on your Foxbody, but maybe you can put it up on your list on the wall, you know, and just say, hey, I need to get to this at some point. You know what I mean? So just bought a new edge from my neighbor and took 10 pounds of pine needles out of it. That's right. Pine needles. Sunroof drain channels. That's what we're talking about next. So I have a sunroof. I'm going to tell you a story a little bit. My black car is a sunroof car. And my, hang on a second. What's up, Jason Field? Huge shout out, Jason Fields, for supporting the channel with a super chat, man. I do appreciate you, guy. He's probably one of my #1 supporters of the channel when it comes to super chats. So everybody thank Jason. I appreciate you supporting the channel. Back to my black car. My black car's a sunroof, so my seal is rotted. Pretty much every sunroof at this point, unless it's been sitting in a bubble, that seal on the outer edge is rotted. Not only that, it's probably rotted. You need to go, okay. If you take the latch off your sunroof, okay, you could take your latch off and you could actually push the pins in and the sunroof comes out. That's what the sunroof bag for in the back, if you have them. And that's what the sunroof straps are for, to strap the bag so you could drive around with the sunroof off. It's almost like T-tops, sort of, not really. Anyways, the sunroof and the latch in the if you have a sunroof car, in the arms, the little clips or whatever in the front, the clips are almost always rotted. So like If you have a sunroof car that's factory, I can almost guarantee you that a couple of the maintenance things that you need to deal with, and we'll get into convertibles a little bit, is the arms, there's little plastics, little yellow plastics that the arms slide into. So you take your sunroof and kind of like set it in and then set it down, push the 2 pins, put them back in and lock it. See what I'm doing? See what I'm talking about? So you got to check the rust underneath the seal that's actually on the body. You can pull it up and look and clean it out, because there's probably some garbage there, because you think rust, or excuse me, water and debris and dirt and pine needles, this stuff's all going to get in that channel. Okay, especially on sunroof cars, it's really bad. And it's so bad that the little clips that go into those little yellow plastics, like water just sits in there. So those clips, now LMR does sell the clips. You just unbolt them. They're kind of hard to unbolt a little bit, but best to go ahead and replace those if you already got a sunroof. Like I had to replace my clips on my black Mustang. I had to replace the seal. I had to replace the other seal. And the biggest problem was the drains. Now, on a factory hatchback sunroof car, there's front drains and there's rear drains. And the front drains drain out in the pillar area, which you got to be careful to check the pillar area because there's all that sound deadening stuff. And in the back hatch area, it actually drains in the quarter panel area. And there's a little plug that is always plugged, like that should not be plugged. And Tip could probably, he's probably laughing just if he's still watching. But you can actually take this little rubber plug out and kind of clean out your quarter panel. So like, I guess what I'm talking about, you got to take your plastic quarter panel back. And this is the same thing for the coupes. You got to take your little, your little trunk, that gray stuff that breaks. You got to look down in the quarter panel area, and down underneath by the body, there's a little rubber plug. And if on a sunroof car, I guarantee you there's dirt and debris in there, because it has rained and it has done whatever the weather wanted to do, and it's came down those drains. So best thing to do is to clean it out, pull your sunroof out, take an air hose with an air chuck and blow your drain out. Like maybe stick some cleaner in it and blow it out. You see what I'm talking about? Because that stuff, I have missing quarter panel pieces on my black car that I cut off because it's a GT, so nobody's going to see underneath of it. But my black car rotted right there at that quarter, so I just chopped it off so it stopped rusting. And my drain just drains to the ground. You see what I mean? So big deal, big deal. Sunroof cars, coupe or hatch, sunroof is a big deal, especially if it's been sitting for a long time. It will rot your body out in the back, the quarter panel. It'll rot your pillar out in the front because of that sound deadening that's in that fender, if you know what I'm talking about. It'll rot the channel out. It'll rot the roof out. Sunroof is awesome, but it's high maintenance, man. It's high maintenance. Sunroof drain, clips, seals, man, all that stuff. I don't know how many Foxbodies I pulled out of trees. T-top's kind of the same thing, man. That stuff gets in that channel, and those seals just get ruined, just like bushings. Like this stuff, I know this is like, you can label this live stream or video however you want about 10 things you want to do for restoration on a Foxbody, blah blah blah. But these are some major issues. I mean, and this could be talked about for days. Just stuff that's just, our cars are getting old. You know what I mean? We got to take care of them. What's up, GS462? What's up, Pat Turchin? I did say that. Glad mine's not a sunroof. Mine 89 was. Yeah, so sunroof is a PETA. Guys, if you have a factory sunroof or you're getting a Foxbody that is a factory sunroof or a coupe hatch, it doesn't matter what it is, go through and check exactly. I'm telling you, you can take your sunroof out of your car. Like, you don't have to unbolt anything, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think that the little silver tabs just push in, and in the sunroof unlatches from your latch, and you could literally lift up on your sunroof and push it out carefully, because they do not repop those. Moving along on my list. Sunroofs was a big one. Okay, so if you're getting a lot of belt drag on your motor, we're going back to the motor for a second. If you're getting a lot of belt drag on your motor, it's a common issue. Obviously, smog pumps on factory Mustangs go bad very often. Now, they're one of the pumps that don't have any oil in them at all, and they're definitely something that you have to pay attention to because it could literally ruin your belt and drag your motor pretty good. Now, I'm not telling you to take your smog pump off in areas that need smog. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that it requires some maintenance, just like everything else is getting old. The check valves are getting old. The canister is getting old because the canister vents the tank from the back, the little black box that's underneath the engine bay. Anyways, it's probably you got to pay attention to your belt routing, but you could take a crowbar and lift up on the tensioner, pull the belt off, and see if your smog pump's dragging at all. Same with your AC. If your AC is starting to go out, it'll move. The clutches will bind up. See what I'm talking about? Water pump, you can check your water pump to see if it's moving at all, to see if it's dragging at all. It's probably best to check some of your pulleys to make sure they're dragging. They're not dragging or whatever. So, dragging belt on accessories. So smog, water pump, AC. Again, this is like a motor that's probably hasn't been messed with much, What's up, Casel Customs? What's going on? That's my man. That's my dude up in Canada. How we doing, man? So also a content creator. Very good information on that channel, guys, if you want to take a peek at it. I think it's closing in at like 8,000 or so. Or did you pass that already? What's up, James Renee? Yeah, the tensioner can get crusty. Yep. Seats and headrest. What's up, Nicholas? Out it. Late to the party. That's all right. Take a belt off. Tensioner sticks open. That's correct. So, obviously, if you're checking your belt drag on some of this stuff, I mean, you could literally go through your Foxbody, guys, in, 30 minutes and check this stuff. I mean, we're not done yet, but like you could just make a little whiteboard about, about some of the stuff we're talking about. Yeah, these slits are heavy. How are these any good? There we go. Right. I guess you can almost see that. Rusty e-brake cables. Those are always bad. Like, I don't even trust e-brake cables anymore. So, obviously, yellow lights. There's some things, guys, that you would that just they look bad because they're everybody knows the yellow lights, right? But also, you can actually fix your lights to not be so bad. So yellow lights is something that is definitely something you need to change and or pay attention to, because that's going to happen regardless of what your car is. But I want to caveat on that is plus water. Now, if your headlights are yellow and they have water in them, that means the seal has been busted or the seal is leaking around the headlights. It probably need to be replaced. And this goes for your corner lights and your middle light. I haven't seen a lot of middle lights have water, but mainly in the corner, the ambers. These things get water in them and you don't even know it. And they'll blow your bulbs out every time. The water will splash up on the bulb and it'll be gone. So yellow lights, water, probably be time for a new set of headlights. So it's always a common issue. Now, if your headlights are just yellow and there's no water in them, we're at the age now, guys, that we should probably try to restore some of these parts, especially the factory Ford stuff. I mean, you could literally sand those, those headlights out and make them nice again, and there's actually videos out there that you put the headlight in like an oven or something, and you can get rid of the glue and take it apart and then like clean it all completely or whatever. So I want to add taillights to that because taillight lenses. Now I can almost guarantee you car's been sitting for a long time. Those taillight lenses got a bunch of crap in them. Now I've seen guys I've seen guys at the track literally make a hit so hard on their Foxbody that their lenses fell out. And that's because the rubber seal that's like the stuff that they put on the windshields, the rubber seal around the taillight lenses, LX and GT, are starting to go bad. And there's actually little clips that hold it in too. They're kind of like, you know, little snap clips. So what me and Cousin Paul do is we take the, you know, you can take the lens off the assembly. And it's not going to break. If you do it right and you're careful, you can have no problem. You're not going to break anything. So basically, if you take the lens off, you can clean the back side of it. At that point, you could restore it, you could clear coat it, you can do all kind of things, and you don't even have to take the assembly off. You could also clean the back of the assembly. This is definitely perfect for guys that have a lot of debris, that have a lot of you know, pine needles. It could be anything up in there. You know what I mean? And if you clean the back side of it and clean the inside of the assembly, you don't even have to take it out of the car. Carefully pull the lens off is what I'm saying. Then you could actually take the little clips, bend the little clips back down. They got little arms on them. Bend the little clips down or back up, excuse me. And then what I like to use is the right stuff, the 1 minute set right stuff, the little black gasket sealer. And I'll stick a little bead of gasket sealer about 1 inch long along that assembly after it's cleaned, and then I'll stick the lens back in it, tighten it up, it clips in place, boom, maintenance is done. So taillight lenses for sure. That's an easy way. It's a great tip for you guys that want to you know, restore your factory lights. And I guarantee you they're dirty on the backside. You know, you can even take, we got one of those little water guns. There's like soapy water guns that you can like tornado guns. They always clean them pretty well. Leaves, trash, clogging drains. Yeah, we did the cowl vent, Greg, bro. Thank you. But Dan, isn't there some light reflective resto paint on spray on paint? I think I haven't messed with that. I've heard you talking about the gray one, the silver one. Now, if your assembly is missing a lot of the reflective gray inside, it'd probably be a good idea. I mean, you could see a bunch of assembly. We got a bunch of assemblies. We have way more assemblies than we have lenses. I mean, here at the shop, well, naturally for obvious reasons. All right, War Admiral, shout out to you, man. I appreciate you stopping in, guy. All right, so moving on. I said the taillight lenses, fuel. I don't know how I want to say this one. I'm going to skip. I don't think, I never really had a problem with the fuel lines for the most part. Fuel filter for sure. But we're going to skip to the, you know, the fuel line's rotted. Okay. There's definitely some sneaky spots on the steel hard line for the fuel feed and return. Usually they like to pick up a lot of debris and start rusting around where that little bracket is that holds them in place. And the same thing goes for the brake lines. So I'm going to use them on the same, I'm not going to use different ones. Brake lines and fuel lines, the hard lines, you know, the rotted hard lines. I mean, it's kind of hard to see some of them because they're up in the body underneath of the axle. So like you could have the fuel line that comes from the front, comes down the side of the car, and then it goes up into the back of the frame, and it's got all kind of rot in it from where, you know, stuff is kicked up past the muffler or whatever. So you got to always, I mean, you got to get the car up on jack stands, you know, up on the lift and check all kind of stuff like that. I mean, the hard lines weren't coated 30 years ago. I don't think they were meant to be coated. So, you know, brake lines are sneaky, and fuel lines are even more sneaky when it comes to rot. Like Cousin Fred's got a really nice fuel line coming from the rear of the car, and then it comes up, and when it comes underneath the passenger side, comes up around the corner, it's all rotted. It's just like you would never seen that because it's behind the splash guard. What's up, Mike B? I'm actually using Mike B's suggestion today for the live streams because I talk a lot. In the guys in green, like I said, are the members to the join button below. If you want to check it out, the guys in green are my members to the channel. And I asked last week, and I took a couple from it. What you guys think would be a good live chat topic? Because I like the whiteboard, and you guys know I like to. I like to talk about Foxbodies. So anyway, with that being said, fuel lines and brake lines rotted. Here's an important one. I'm gonna say I stopped counting. Fuel and brake lines rotted. This is almost a guarantee if the car's been sitting, for sure. Eventually, I know when it's coming too, because it shows a little symbol at the top of my little live counter or whatever. So, guys, I super apologize for the rain and for the internet. I have terrible luck with this stuff, but at least it doesn't disconnect me for good. So we'll let it catch up. Give it a second. I do appreciate everybody. Hopefully it's not frozen. So what do we have coming up? Well, I'm going to wait for the stream to come back, but we have a couple. If it even catches this part of the stream, we got a couple big videos coming up. Now it's fuzzy again. Let's see. There's a little symbol at the okay. Oh, there we go. Did it not? Perfect. I don't think it's very fuzzy either, is it? Looks pretty good. All right, so continuing on, fuel, brake lines rotted. Guys, I'm sorry if my live streams sometimes, I feel kind of guilty because I don't want to waste anybody's time. I'm definitely sorry that, I try to bring a lot of Foxbody knowledge to the game, to the genre. And I apologize when the stream isn't exactly perfect, and apologize if, I do this stuff to kind of help the community, especially the new members to the Foxbody genre that might need some help with their Foxbody, or they might have got somebody else's nightmare, like I said, and they don't really know what to look for. So, this is definitely years of experience that I've had with many Foxbodies. You see one, I've just seen it all for the most part. But anyways, we are moving on. Make sure you guys are hitting that like to help me support the live stream. So moving on, the next thing we were going to talk about was, we talked about the brake line just now. This is definitely something that'll, you guys that know Foxbodies will probably be like, I didn't know that. Your proportioning valve could actually go bad, especially on cars that's been sitting for a long time. The proportioning valve, again, some of these things that are on this list are on cars that's been sitting for 10 or 15, 20 years. Some of these things are on cars that may have been sitting for a couple of years. But proportioning valves, when they start weeping, there's a little weep hole. It's just like the water pump. Your actual proportioning valve could actually blow out. It's very dangerous because you'll wonder why, your strut tower, or wonder why your knuckle rack joint is wet, and it doesn't make any sense. It's brake fluid. So, and the same thing works for the master cylinder. When the seal starts going bad on the master cylinder, But the main thing is my proportioning valve on my black car is seen better days. It is actually weeping and it's dangerous, and I shouldn't be driving it. But I think I have enough driving skill that if I caught something starting to get dumb on me, I could get the car geared down and get it home or whatever. So there is an issue with a weeping brake proportioning valve. It's just, like I said, it's just like the water pump. It's not going to get you stuck per se, but it's dangerous. I don't know how many of you guys have seen that, but it's actually on my black car. I'll actually make a short video and show you if you guys want to see it. I feel 235 should be as wide as you go on tire-wise, decent, in my experience. Yeah, a bit crud up, build up, and block stick. Okay, so keeping along the same lines, this is especially important for cars that have been sitting for a long period of time, and somebody mentioned it earlier in the stream, is rusty brake rotors and rusty front and rear, especially in the rear. They love to freeze up. So a car that's been sitting for, I don't know how many cars we've actually had to take. I mean, ask Cousin Paul. He's actually had to take like the rear rotor. He had to pound the rear rotor off because the car wouldn't move. Like it was that frozen. And the same thing for the front. We had to take the caliper loose, which is just a couple bolts, right? And we just zip tied to the frame so the car would actually move around. So when they get that rotted and that rusty, just buy new rotors, because at that point you might as well just go through the whole braking system. You see what I'm saying? So let me. All right, here we go. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. All kind of tomfoolery around here. I don't know what happened there. It's just not my night tonight, I guess. So anyways, let that come back. It must be brutal squirrels. They're attacking. I'm just kidding. I should be good now. Like, I don't know. Like the camera just shut off for like no reason. Like StreamYard told me that my camera was wrong. So I had to switch back to the laptop camera and switch back over to the main camera. So anyway, moving on. We'll get through the stream. Tough stream for me tonight. Whew. We're not even halfway through my list. Rotors are rusted bad, pads ruined, frozen brakes. Rusted tank and fuel lines. We did that one. It's up here. Number 2. Yeah, rotors rusted. Pads ruined. It's so bad. I mean, you're already on 19 guys. I mean, this is good info, man. This is good info. I guess I would put door handles in there, but that's more of a wearable item than it is something that's been sitting for a long time. So I'm going to leave door handles out because I don't feel like that's something that we need to talk about. However, I will add door panel dew strips. The door dew strips itself. That's a good one. I'll get into that. I'll get into that. That's a good one. The dew strips under the door, okay? If you got the one screw on the door and you can slide it off, okay? You can slide that trim off. Now there's these 3, I don't even know what they're called, little plastic slide clippies. Those need to be checked. All that stuff underneath the door molding, I guarantee you if it's been sitting for a long time, it's got some crud in there. You need to wash it out. You need to check they're riveted. There's like these little riveted round plastic whatevers, and you clip the molding in and you slide it up, and then you put the screw in the door jamb area. Now underneath of that is a riveted door strip, or dew strip I call it, And if the dew strip is starting to rot, it'll scratch your glass. So it'll look like crap. And you could get the dew strip, you could replace the dew strip, but you have to rivet it in. I think there is a weather stripping. I mean, I should just put weather stripping all the way around, to be honest with you. Hang on a second, Toby. Wiper blades are a wearable item like the door handles. I'm not going to put that on there. But good call, though. Good call. Dew strips, door weather strip. I know a bunch of you guys had said that, so shout out to you guys. I was getting there. Door weather strips. We already talked about the sunroof seal. I mean, the hatch really isn't something. The seal isn't usually bad because the stuff just runs out of the channel. But dew strips under the door, you know what I mean? And that's the crud under the molding, you know what I mean, that I was just talking about. Because there's a bunch of crud under there. Faux show. Drain holes in it. So, I mean, I don't know how many of those, I mean, those little door moldings that we we're just talking about, I'm talking about the outer door moldings of the window. I don't know how many of those have been chipped. They're just nasty. You know what I mean? And then a little plastic riveted little discs underneath are always chipped or broken or whatever. So what debris in the bottom of the black glass trim mentioned? Yeah, so was my next one. Good one, Sean. Yes. So next one is on hatch. This is on hatch and coupe. And this is actually on convertibles too. Now we'll talk about a little bit of convertible here. I'll just shoot from the hip because I wasn't prepared for that, of course. But the rear glass trim, and it's mainly the back one or the bottom one. And this kind of goes for the front glass a little bit too, but that kind of ties into the cowl panel. So bottom piece. I mean, I don't know how many times you guys wash your cars, hatch or coupe, and there's always like crap running off the hatch coming from the rear molding. That's what that is. Because it's all rubbery, right? And it gets hot and it's old and it's squishy and whatever. So stuff will get stuck underneath that hatch trim and like it'll get stuck for like ever. You know what I mean? It's like stuck glued to it. What's up, Superfly Garage? It's good to see you, my man. The hatch stops rubber bumpers that keep your hatch from bouncing up and down. So, yes, all the time. I mean, there's so much debris, the rear glass trim. It's the bottom piece in a hatch coupe. You literally need to take it off carefully because do not take your rear trim off or even your front trim off with a screwdriver. Not only do you take a chance of cracking and chipping your glass, but you also take a chance at ruining the actual trim. There's pliers that have to go underneath of the trim, okay? Has to grab the clip, pull it forward, and it pops out. See what I mean? Because there's the trim kind of rolls up under like a hook. And if you pry it with a screwdriver, it'll bend those hooks and bend the whole trim. So it'll be worthless at that point. Yeah, so plastic, they got a plastic pliers. I got the old, I call them crab claws. I got them from O'Reilly's, I think, the last set I got. I mean, literally just pop, 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 pull it up, clean it really good as best you can with a screwdriver or whatever. Replace the clips if you can, but some of those clips are stuck in that rubber that I'm talking about. Replacing that's kind of tough. So where are we at? That's a good one. I actually didn't have that on my list, so I appreciate you. We talked about garbage under the LX wing. Right here, debris under the LX wing. It is under the GT wing too, but it's mainly under the LX wing. As for convertibles, hot mess. Convertible top are always ruined. That's one of, outside of heater cores, it's probably one of the worst things to replace on a Foxbody Mustang is the top, because the new ones come and you got to stretch them. When they come in from the mail, you got to stretch them. Hot mess. But on a convertible, you know, it's not much different than a coupe and everything else that we've talked about outside of the top itself. The pumps like to go bad. They like to blow seals, the side pumps and the rear pump. Depending on where you live at, the front headliner trim inside the car is actually where your sunroof, or excuse me, your top handles clip in at. So those hooks all get like broken and bent and like kind of out of whack, to where like your top will come up on like the top of your windshield where where it's supposed to seat on the front headliner trim or the front window trim. And it's just like you're going to get water and air and everything in there, like literally once you just blow the top off. Verts make fantastic parts cars. That's bad. I have some big angry creature that's moved into my garage, hiding under the storage. Oh, my convertible pump is all original. Nice. The stock tower rust, the shock tower rust is kind of like a wearable thing. We all know, like the first thing when you go to pick up a parts car, or you go to pick up a car that you're trying to restore or a project, like the first things that Foxbodies are judged on is how well their strut towers are. I don't know how many people I've asked for pictures of the strut towers, and they actually send me a picture of the camber plate. And I'm like, bro, that's not what I'm looking for. So these strut towers, you know, they're getting to the point to where they're replaceable. They're fixable. They're not that detrimental if you can get some good sheet metal up in there. Maybe someday replace the whole frame with a tubular or something. But at worst case scenario, like I have a coupe, a red coupe. You guys seen like Hobo 5.0? You guys remember Hobo 5.0? Like it's so bad from like the rear of the towers forward, but it's not rotted back. It's like the frames, the floor pan. Somebody had POR'd it and chassis savered it, and like they were going to do some work to the car, and like it's not rotted at all. But like from like the rear of the towers forward is just a hot mess. So it's going to get to the point to where the tubular front ends are going to become kind of the chassis saver for the Foxbodies here soon. So yeah. Moving on. Carpets. Now, the only reason why I am telling you about carpets is because carpets are so nasty at this point. You might as well pull them out and throw them away and get some. The bad part about carpets is there's really no like viable option out there for a good, perfect carpet to replace the factory one with. I mean, there's some good candidates, but there's not that one carpet that's like money, like no matter what color it is. It's like perfect. You know what I mean? It's got the the footing on the driver's side, and it's got the carpeting underneath. And the reason why I bring up carpets is because your floor pans might look clean underneath of your car that you're looking at, but what's it look like underneath of the carpet? Because I've actually seen rust from cars that have been sitting for a long time because the sunroof was leaking, the window was down, whatever. That water would pull up into the floor and rot the pans from the inside out. So like my Hobo 5.0, take for instance, passenger side floor rear pan. The window was half down when the car was sitting for a long time, and that floor was wet. I knew if you see a car that has a floor wet, it's probably got some rust underneath. Can that be saved? Sure. I mean, you sand the crap out of it, put some chassis saver on it, probably be fine. You could probably replace the pan if it's not rotted through. I don't know, but that's sneaky. Wet floors, man. Carpet and wet floors, 21. Wet floors. Rust under carpet. Hell yeah. There it is. Oh, moving with, man, we 21, man. 21 good ones. Coming back to the interior side, I've actually seen the hatch panel, the rear hatch panel, and this is specifically for hatch cars. If you lift up the hatch panel, usually they're sagging or falling down at this point, but those little black clips probably need replaced. There's only like 4 screws in the whole thing. But there's usually a lot of garbage and debris underneath that, just like the wings. So if you go up under and check your wing and clean it out, then you need to, kind of lift your hatch up, pull that hatch thing down. Maybe you replace the little black clip. You can get them from like Advanced Auto Parts or whatever, or AutoZone or whatever. But I won't put that on the list, but that's something that I wanted to talk about too. Weather strips on the doors rotted. We already talked about that. Hatch hinges. Somebody had mentioned that. I think Toby was talking about that, Toby Wilson. We were getting to it, my man. But hatch hinges, or excuse me, door hinges, just your door sagging. If your door moves at all, your hinges, I mean, those pretty much go over time for the most part. It kind of messes your striker alignment up eventually because it'll actually move the striker, and then you'll fix the pins and the striker won't be lined up. But you can do a lot of alignment stuff with your striker because the striker actually moves a lot. So, and another wearable item is the little plastic thing that goes on the striker in the back. So, yeah, we talked about the fan inside the heater box, if that's what you're asking, Adventure. Door hinges. Now, I don't really see a lot of rot on pillars unless they're like a sunroof car. I know a sunroof car's probably got hidden rust underneath the fender and behind the door, but it's a good time to check all that at this point. You know what I mean? Door hinges. Sunroof drains are clogged. We talked about that. Sand and dirt. Man, my black car had about 2 inches of sand in my quarter panel area. That's how serious these sunroofs get. Appreciate it. Vacuum lines, we talked about that, Lewis. Vacuum lines is, where did we put it? We just talked about it. Spoiler debris. Man, how did we not put back? We talked about it, didn't we? Vacuum lines. I know we talked about it. Now, one of the ones that we talked about leaky T-tops. It actually was the same with sunroofs. The one thing I'm going to talk about right here is kind of goes in foot with what we talked about in the other live stream. What was it? 10 things to look for. I can't remember. Anyways, we talked about harnesses. We talked about the GT light switch, right? We talked about the ECU relay, which I led with, the fuel pump relay. We talked about many things, but there's one harness that I didn't talk about that over time is probably a no bueno. And you guys, everybody has them, including sunroof, but this is more for hatch coupe as well. Your sun visors. Now, your sun visors over time, legitimately, they were like built to fail. Your flaps flap around. They're just terrible. They weren't built very good. Like I said, engineers hate mechanics. So what happens is most of the sunroofs that are in, or excuse me, most of the sun visors that are in hatch and coupe cars are lighted. There are some manual ones, but the lighted harnessed ones, if the flap is going bad and or falling off because it's just old, it'll leave your lighted mirror on, and it'll actually, that's a fire hazard. It's one I did not mention before because it stays behind that felt. And I don't know how many mirrors, and Cousin Paul can attest to this. I don't know how many mirror flaps and how many mirrors I've seen. Literally, the plastic shine was melted. You see what I'm saying? Because not only did that cause a parasitic loss, and people wonder why their batteries are going dead, but you wouldn't even see it. You see what I'm saying? It would just be flipped up unless it was dark out. You know what I mean? So sun visors are a sneaky little gremlin that'll kill your battery and melt your sun visors. You never know. I mean, it could catch the car on fire. So I don't know if you guys ever seen that, but I've seen enough of it. Trust me, I could show you a bunch of sun visors. Sun visors fail. Battery drain. Look at that board, baby. Look at that. It's all kind of info. This is what I like to do. First thing to check if Fox has a battery draw. Yeah. So I know Dad's has a parasitic loss. Can't figure it out. Hatch light I've unplugged. You know, the mirrors I've unplugged. I mean, I'd like to get it to where it's not. Maybe you need to add another ground. I don't know. So there is a lot of crap underneath the headliner, but I don't think that's something we're going to talk about next. Sun visor flats, rust under the carpet. Actually, we got through most of my list at an hour and a half, hour and 26 minutes. Somebody had mentioned battery tray. That's a good idea. Let's talk about battery tray. So there's always crap under battery trays. We'll put that underneath. Fat Boy Fox said it. Under the battery tray, yes, sir. Battery tray. Under battery cables. So while you're there, you might as well check to make sure your cables are, you know, they're not loose. Make sure the wires aren't loose. There's a lot of corrosion that happens on this too, but there's always garbage underneath the battery tray. Good one. I put a penny in the switch and shut the flap. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool tricks there. That's what the brown chair was on them things, huh? Baking soda and water mix, great for cleaning batteries. Neutralizes the acid. That's correct. Good call. Very good call on that. What else you guys got? Where can I find headliner clips? eBay. I don't think Amazon has any. Now, the ignition switch definitely goes bad over time, but it's probably more from overuse. That's a fire hazard thing. We talked about fire hazards a while back. Water pump impeller rusted. Yeah, I put water pump weeping on that, so that would be like a water pump failure thing. Don't forget that nagging sound from the significant. Oh, you're crazy, bro. You're crazy. You guys want to add any more to the list? What do you think? What do you guys think? For you guys who's just joining the channel. There it is, boys. Probably just threw my internet off. Fuel pump relay, ECU relay, and the wiring. Fuel tank, strainer. That includes the hanger and filter. Rotted tires. You know, clogged cats, glowing red, mufflers, rust inside, bushings. Sway bar, rack joint, rack and control arms. Clutch cables will like more of a wearable item, but it will rot and rust over time. Motor mounts, rubbers just tearing apart, just like the rubber that's on here. Harmonic balancer rubber tearing apart. I knew I put it on there. Hidden vacuum lines that are broken and or misplaced and or out of whack. Heater core fan box, just from sitting. You know, critters get in that box. The cowl panel, leaves, debris, and nesting inside of the cowl panel area. That's actually pretty hidden, so you actually got to go in there and look. You'd have a really clean car and wonder why every time you washed it and it drained, there was debris all over the ground. Water pump weeping, or what Broken Tool said, the water pump just breaking, just corrosive, man. It's just corrosive. Spoiler debris under the LX wing specifically, but there is some GTs. Sunroof debris. That's a good one, Lewis. We're gonna put that on there. We'll put that where vacuum lines was because I did it twice. Cooling fan. Or just fan itself. Sunroof drain. This is a big one for guys who have sunroofs. The drain, the clips, the seals. Oh, it just rots your car out, man. I know a lot of people don't like sunroofs because they're, you know, that make the car way more, but I like my sunroof, don't mind it, but it's definitely some maintenance. You know, the dragging belt on the accessories because the accessories are going bad, smog, water pump, and AC, yellow lights, water in the yellow lights and the corner lights, tail light lenses being restored, you know, fuel and brake lines rotted, so much stuff. Weeping brake pro valve, which that's a tough one. You don't really notice that too much, but that can be dangerous. Rotors rusted and pads ruined. Definitely going to happen when they sit for a long time, especially the tank rusting inside. Dew strips, door weather strips, crud under the molding. Rear glass trim, the bottom piece specifically on the hatch coupe. Wet floors, rust under the carpet. Door hinges sag. You know, they're sagging when you open them. Cooling fan cracking. Or the clutch is kind of moving too free. Does that make sense? Sunroofs failing and battery drain. Under the battery tray has a bunch of crap. That's a good list right there, boys. You could make 10 videos of content of it, or a couple of videos, you know, probably 10 videos of content out of that. Somebody actually had mentioned we already talked about strut tower rust, but somebody had mentioned it's a good call. I mean, outside of the leaking oil, like oil pumps, we're not going to get into the gaskets leaking too much, but I did want to mention the rear axle seals and master cylinders. All right, yeah, wheel cylinders. Excuse me, wheel cylinders. So I do want to add another one because somebody did mention that earlier. Wheel cylinders plus axle seals. Now, another rottable item, like it'll just rot over time, and just because there is a little bit of, you know, I'm not going to mention like the rear diff gasket and all that stuff because, I mean, that's just kind of a fluid change thing anyways, because nobody really gets into the axle seals because they're terrible. But, you know, if you're doing a full brake thing, you're going to want to change the axle seals. But yeah, I mean, we're an hour and 32 minutes in, and I think we got a really killer list there. You know, I do these live streams to help the community learn about Fox bodies, especially ones that are aging. You know, this stream could have been aging issues, could have been issues from sitting for a long time. Could be a lot of, you know, you could have named this stream a lot of things. I just went with what I had. I think the thumbnail was pretty good. I don't know what you guys think, but, you know, when Fox bodies have been sitting forever, this is what that looks like. I mean, literally. And it costs money, but more time than money to check this stuff out. Axle seals while you were there, bearings. That's correct. So, yeah, you would want to change the bearings. It kind of comes with the kit for the most part. You can get the whole kit to rebuild. You know, when you're getting into putting gears in your Mustang, your Fox body, you know, you're going to want to do the axle seals and bearings anyway. You know what I mean? You're going to want to add that to your gear swap list. Because then you could make, you know, who wants to go back through their axle? You got to take that whole backing plate off. Like, it's not very easy because then you got to mess with that stupid e-brake cable. And nobody likes to mess with that e-brake cable. I'm telling you right now. So, cracked mechanical clutch fan is a good one to watch for too. The cracked mechanical. Yeah, that's what I put here. I got that on there. Cooling fan. Somebody had mentioned cooling fan. I was talking about cracking. Those are, I guarantee you got a factory fan. 9 out of 10, they're cracked already. Now they make some pretty good replacements. I mean, just go with what you got. Now you can get one from the parts store. I think they're like $26. Usually when I have a good clutch I know works on a Fox body that looks like it's got good bind and good tension, I'll go buy a new fan blade, clean up the clutch really good with my cleaners and sell it. You know, make sure the seal isn't leaking. You know, I mean, doesn't mean that I'd rather put a 30-year-old clutch fan that works really good on my Fox body before I put a you know, repop 1-year warranty thing on it and have it fail in a year. I look forward to live streams, friends from home. Yeah, man, I appreciate you coming in. Guys, I just appreciate everybody. Dude, my stream, I've been putting out a lot of stuff. You know, I'm doing shorts. I'm doing shorter videos. We're doing the regular content. I'm just catching fire here, man. You know, I enjoy putting content out for you guys. Some of you guys may like some of it. Some of you may not. Some of you may be more advanced Foxbody. That's why I have the white car and the black car. You know, there's just I'm just appreciate everybody, you know, for you know, watching my channel, being part of it for the most part. But we did get some other content creators here in the channel. I want you guys to check them out. I mean, Casual Customs is here in the channel. He has mentioned me before in his channel. I appreciate that. The infamous Project Chris, he has mentioned me before. Wears some of my merch sometimes on his channel. Brutal was in the house. Big Beat. Who else did we see? I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I missed somebody, and you know, I was back here writing on this little board or whatever. But I'll give you guys another look. You know, this is about all we got for the night. You know what I mean? We could talk about a few other things before we get out. You know, that's some good stuff. I'm telling you. You know, this is definitely for some. You know, this is definitely for somebody that's starting to want to restore their Mustang. You know, you're getting into the weather stripping, and you know, I think there's a couple content creators out there that have done like you know, sprucing up the weather stripping, or excuse me, the hatch trim, the coupe rear glass trim, the front window trim, the mirrors, etc., etc. So, did you fix Dad's calipers? Did not yet. I had not fixed his calipers. We actually, all right. So let's talk about what's going on the channel right now. So you guys got any more questions I want to add to this list? Go ahead. Again, the guys in green are my members. So if you guys got something you want to ask me in the members channel about the channel coming up, anyways, I did post some content in there. Like I said, the members are actually watching the video now. That's up tomorrow at 6. But let's talk about what's going on right now. They look steel dowels. I pulled the gas tank in my 82. Tomorrow's video was awesome. It's pretty cool. Listen, I got a couple guys. I'm very spoiled with, you know, being able to collaborate with a lot of these guys in Northeast Ohio. I mean, we have some of the fastest micro record cars. I guess you want to call it micro record. We have some of the fastest vehicles in their current classes in Ohio, and it's really cool to be able to, you know, not only be friends with these guys, but to collaborate with them on occasions. But this week we have a surprise video tomorrow. It's definitely a really, really cool video. I'm not going to give it away. This week we're going to be doing videos on this car, the problem we had with this car, and we are probably going to do the fix on Dad's car. I'm going to show you how bad it is. Probably come back and do we took this white car to the track Friday night, didn't get the race because they canceled it. But Saturday we were there most of the day. Got a lot of footage, a lot of really cool footage. We actually did a little short video from the track. If you guys got a chance to watch it, we made 3 passes on Saturday. You guys got to know. So, I mean, if you follow the channel, I mean, you're gonna have to follow the, you know, the 11, 12-second cars. You're gonna have to follow the 10 and 9 and other second cars. Tomorrow's video is on. So why is my chat backwards here? Anyway, are we still here? I haven't seen chat move in like 10 minutes. Sometimes it does that. I just really enjoy doing live streams. I should do more of them. You know, I get a chance to get down and really talk about some serious Foxbody stuff. Like I could talk about Foxbody stuff, go to sleep, wake up, and talk about Foxbody stuff. That's just what I do. That's what I enjoy to do. What's that say? My chat's lagged on one screen. Mine is the fastest black stick shift stripped from paint, dusty, fat. You're silly, dude. You're silly. So what do we got coming up? Like I said, we got a good video tomorrow. I want you guys to really check that out and support that. It's going to actually bring another vehicle to the channel. Per se, it's not my vehicle, but I definitely want to share the journey this year with it. My buddy Brian's Ford is really awesome. Again, like I said, we had an issue with the white car we fixed. We're going to get into Dad's car. We're going to go back to the track with Dad's car. As you guys know, we released the video on Friday. I want you to go check it out. We did run some really good times Friday, but we had some serious issues. So, you know, almost put that thing in the left wall. We got Chocolate Fox coming up. As you guys know, I plan on heading to Chocolate Fox. So shout out to Jen and Matt at FMR, Fox Mustang Resto, for putting on the event here in Hershey, PA. I got some tires that need to go on some new wheels. If you guys watched last Wednesday's video, we got some new wheels for the cars. So, Junior Juvie, would an upper intake leak cause my Foxbody to run like crap? Changed valve covers too. Still runs like crap. Not really. If you were leaking into the cylinders, you would probably be smoking quite a bit and fouling plugs. But, you know, that's just probably something that we should put on the list is plugs and plug wires, tune-up. But to be honest with you, that's like kind of goes without saying. When you get a car, you know, you want to do a tune-up to it anyways, you know. So maybe, you know, we get into the maintenance of the oil and the gear lube and the trans lube. You know, that just goes without saying. So we'll just put tune-up, and it'll be tune-up and fluids. So we'll end the list there as I talk about. So important. And see, I'm kind of breaking that rule right now on my black truck because my black truck just got put back on the road last week, 2 weeks ago, or 2 months ago, and I haven't changed the oil in it in like 2 years. Would you? What could you use to fill cracks on the headrest on these? What could you use to fill cracks? Is the leather? Fill cracks on the headrest. I'm not sure what you mean, brother. So I got about 5 more minutes, guys, and we're going to head out. Those NVXs on the black car are fire. Yeah, I agree. And we got the, I don't know if I'm going to do a video about this. I probably will. We'll do a little bit of a fitment video to kind of collaborate with the video that we did last week. But I did get some wheels and I did get some tires. You guys know I got some wheels the other week. You know, I think Chris did a 19-inch wheel video on his white coupe, and I was like, those look pretty good. I kind of like the way they look. I told him that. I really did kind of like the way they sat on the car for the most part. The 96 spindles actually kind of surprised me. Probably means halo seats. The cracking on the halo seats, not real sure. Really enjoy your channel. I don't have any Mustangs, but 93. I have a 93 and a 94 Lightning. Now, listen, Lightnings are amazing. Like Lightnings are, that would be something. If I was to bring another truck to the channel or another vehicle to the channel, it would probably have to be, you know, I've thought about that. It's funny you say that, Nate. Like, I know there's not a big genre for Lightnings, but when we start talking about 93 Lightnings, you're kind of in the Cobra range. So it kind of does bring the Foxbody enthusiasts in. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, it's just, I would definitely enjoy, you know, owning a 93 specific red Lightning. And just because it's a specialty truck, it could be something for the channel, and we could do some really cool stuff with that. You know what I mean? It's got a 351 in it, so it'd be really cool to do some stuff to that. And it can't be much different. I think they ran off an old speed density system, if I remember correctly. I mean, an air vane meter? I don't know. I got to run for dinner. Thanks so much for, I appreciate you coming in, Castle. My 86 was missing the 202 sensors when I got it. They were needed for speed density car. Yes, you want O2 sensors for sure. Those wheels are sick. I appreciate that. Yeah, appreciate you, Castle. Make sure you guys go check out his channel if you get an opportunity. All right, guys. So I'm about to head out. It's 9:45 over here. I apologize for those guys on the West Coast who are just maybe stopping in and check it out. Guys, I super appreciate everybody for watching and listening to me ramble about my hobby and my passion. Again, there's a join button below if you guys are interested in the membership. I do talk a lot on membership. I ask questions. Actually, this whole live stream, so shout out to Mike B here in chat. He was the person that made this live chat. You know, I asked my members what would be a good topic, and this was his topic. So anyways, we did get the new thanks button. If you guys want to, if there's a video that goes for all my videos, if you guys want to check out that, we got some new merch coming. Merch is coming in about a week, and we just ordered a canopy. So when we get to Chocolate Fox, we should be rocking new merch, new canopy, have a different car with new wheels. It should be a pretty interesting little event. So anyways, I appreciate everybody for stopping in tonight and supporting the channel. And if I've helped you guys, hit that comment below, hit that like below. Let me know if this has helped you in any way, shape, or form. I do and would appreciate the feedback. But outside of that, guys, thank you and have a good night.